That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Bad Hair, the sophomore film directed by Justin Simien, which premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival. It's being released via two distributors. Neon is giving a theatrical window October 16, 2020, and it will be available to stream on Hulu October 23rd.
This was a fun movie. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Not just because I'm a black hairstylist, but it was fun. Fun characterizations. It's set in Los Angeles, 1989, so that's also my time. But the story revolves around a young woman named Anna, who works for a urban television station called Culture. And Culture is by the people, for the people, but it's taken over by a parent company that sends an executive, James Vanderbeek,
Grant Madison,
to make it more sort of pop friendly.
Yeah.
And he decides that he is going to replace the current director with a former supermodel played by Vanessa Williams. Her character's name is Zora, and Zora wants to take things in a very different direction. It's clear by her appearance that she has different expectations for her staff. So when we meet the staff of Culture, which includes Anna, played by
Elle, Lorraine,
and then Lena Waithe, and another woman who's
Sister Soul, played by Yanni King Monchen.
These women are much more their appearance. They have natural hairstyles. They're much more focused on lifting up the people and the music, the culture, the name of the television station. But with Vanessa Williams, she's changed the name to Cult,
which is a really great theme and metaphor for what's going on. But yeah.
And at that point, we're introduced to a character named Sandra, played by Kelley Rowland, which was also a really great character. She's kind of doing a Janet Jackson impersonation.
Yeah.
And we see her video for her new song, which is also an ode to Janet Jackson.
And the choreography for sure.
The choreography and the sound, and they talk about New Jack Swing and Teddy Riley and all that. But it's clear that these people are taking things in a different direction, and what we mean by that is Zora encourages Sandra, because Sandra is a hardworking employee who has great ideas. It was Anna who came up with the concept for Culture's most popular show.
Yeah.
But Zora tells Sandra, if you were to just get a weave and wear your hair straight, you'd be more accepted by corporate America, and you would potentially have more opportunities with Cult.
Which, and it's important to note, the film actually opens with Anna's character as a young girl, traumatized by her head burned.
Well, her sister applies a chemical relaxer to her hair, and she ends up getting a really bad chemical burn. So that's partially why
she's avoided it.
Anna wears her hair natural. But she decides that she is going to go to this popular salon where Sandra happens to go.
Virgie's.
To get a weave installed. But they tell her, there's a huge wait list. We can't see you for months. Good luck. But she, in a really good scene, basically begs a hairstylist played by Laverne Cox to give her a weave. The stylist agrees, installs the weave. Really great scene because she's Anna's crying because she's tender-headed, but also she's I haven't had my hair done in so long.
Well, and also because the supernatural element really kicks in here.
So we have to explain. So the hair, the weave hair, is possessed by witches, and there's an old slave fable,
slave lore. But basically, these witches have implanted their spirits into this hair. Hopefully, one day that the hair will be installed on someone, and they will use that person as a host to get enough power to then come back in a physical form. And it's also referred to as the black moss, basically growing off trees that are harvested off this plantation in Louisiana.
Yes,
is an underlying theme, and we're fed all that information because Anna. Her father's played by Blair Underwood, and he's a professor, and he's passing around this book of slave lore for his daughters to read.
So as Laverne Cox's character is installing the weave, it appears like her, like stitches, it's bloody, it's gruesome. Anna's crying. The stylist explains to her, like, whatever you, like, apply this sort of, like, lotion or cream to your scalp to keep it healthy, and whatever you do, don't get it wet. So that's important, like a little gremlin. Mm-hmm. But after Anna gets the weave, things seem to, like, go on the upswing for her. She gets more opportunities at Cult. But weird things start happening. Namely, the first time Anna, like, gets, like, a paper cut, the weave hair, like, is attracted to the blood.
Like a leech.
Like a leech.
Yeah.
And then when Anna's on her period, the weave hair goes down to get her menstrual blood.
Which is a really good scene.
Which is a good scene. And it continues. Anna's weave ends up killing several people, including her landlord, who attempts to sexually assault her. She shows up at, like, another hair salon to have the weave removed because she's afraid. And the weave kills, like, several people in the salon, including her old boss.
Oh yeah, Judith Scott. And who I really like her too, yeah.
Yes. It culminates with us finding out that Zora is also wearing this possessed hair.
And has been for much longer.
They meet up at the corporate offices of Cult, or like intersect, and the two weaves battle it out. I'm assuming that they're like self-preservation. Like the weave hair needs a host, so it doesn't want the other weave to kill it. So
right.
The hair is battling. Anna's hair wins, so Zora dies. But the sprinkler system goes off and the hair gets wet.
She lights it.
The hair gets wet. Now the hair is like disabled, so Anna's able to cut it out. So that's the end of the film, but Anna decides like she's gonna move on, so we see her like moving out of her apartment, but then we see everyone else because now it's like, you know, the early 90s and everyone's obsessed with weave. So we see several characters in her life excited to go get a weave while Anna's sitting there like, don't do it. And then the final sort of scene is an explanation. Well, we see James Van Der Beek's character now back in like the 1800s.
Well, it's Anna's omniscient narration is talking about the plantation owner that had the black moss had sons that inherited it from him. So I took that to he's supposed to be
like a descendant, but it basically talks about like the slave lore and how this black moss over the plantations is what kind of kept the slaves there.
Yes.
Which was interesting.
Well, because it works as the metaphor for how we're keeping black women down by making them believe that they have to adopt these white standards of beauty, which...
Sure. I think that's what the film's trying to say. So, yeah, that's it.
We didn't bring up Jay Pharoah.
Jay Pharoah's in there. He plays like a VJ, video disc jockey.
Who's kind of having sex with Anna on the low, and then...
Zora as well. Anyway, I have a couple of notes. Initially, because the opening scenes, we get the sense that like there's some voodoo happening because we see a shipment of hair come from Louisiana.
Yeah, we're like, oh, right away.
Don't want that
hair.
Yeah, and then you said something about goofer dust, which
of Erica Alexander.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. One misstep for me is Vanessa Williams' character is supposed to be, like we're supposed to get the sense that she has weave hair in, but it's clearly a wig, and it's a little crunchy. So I kind of wish.
True, I could look at her all day though.
Yes, and she's great, but I feel like that hair game could have been a little tighter on her.
The very opening sequence, it's her face on that box of color that burns.
The relaxer, yeah. The relaxer that burns Anna as a kid in the beginning of the film. The cover model is Vanessa Williams, because she used to be a supermodel, which is interesting too because Kelly Rowland used to sell hair relaxer too. So the Dark and Lovely brand.
Dark and Lovely, yes.
Kelly Rowland as Sandra was so good because she's such a great performer, and then they do something with her eyes where it looks kind of like
they're golden, which reminded me. I wrote down The Howling. You get those glow of the eyes.
Yeah, it was creepy. Yeah. Also, when Sandra shows up, when Anna's in the salon getting her weave installed, Sandra shows up because she got her weave wet, so she looks bedraggled. And then Anna's trying to talk to her about how she really enjoys her music, and just the way Sandra looks and responds to her, I thought was really good.
And where she's with Usher, who's...
oh, that's right. Usher's in the film as a musician. Again, the scene where Anna's at the beauty shop begging for a weave, I thought was really good. It was really good. Not only her sort of like pleading to the stylist, like, have you ever had a dream? And all it took was one thing, but then her also getting it in. I thought that was powerful.
Oh yeah, it's hard to watch.
Oh, when Anna finds out that Jay Farrell's character is having sex with Zora, because Anna is like this very, you know, she's just like this beautiful, sort of fragile woman who's clearly an intelligent, productive person, but she's very soft-spoken. And when she finds out this dude who she's seeing is having sex with her boss, she switches up real quick. I thought that was a really fun scene because that's the only moment where we see her get like angry. Because then as soon as she's done with that scene, she goes back to being her sort of meek self.
Well, and then she's mired in this like traumatic experience of her hair sucking blood. So
Yeah.
I really liked Vanessa Williams. I had to write down when she's having the meeting with the staff and about how we're really changing things up here, and she's like, no more endless blocks of Anita Baker.
We all get it. You give good love, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't know that it can be classified as a horror film because it's so self-aware, but is also kind of reclaiming this spot because there was a complete lack of, you know, black genre films from this period.
Well, I could...
Like compared to Jordan Peele's Us, I like this a little better because not all of the metaphors really worked for me in that film. This feels a bit more cohesive.
You know, the budget, I'm assuming, was not very high. It does look a little cheap, and the effects involving the hair sort of attacking things, you know, it does look cheap, but it's fun. It feels very B in that way.
Which I like, though. I like that. And I feel like that's the point of it.
But what I was going to say is there are so many really neat elements because we have the, like, you know, within the story is this the network culture or cult as it becomes. And the little programming they have, we get snippets of that. So a lot of effort was put into all of these components and it shows. I thought that was really fun. I obviously really love late 80s, early 90s references. So that worked for me. Yeah.
To me, this is a great cross between John Carpenter and Larry Cohen, because I thought of Larry Cohen's The Stuff, where instead in the 80s where people are obsessed with this product that is taking them over. It's called The Stuff.
Okay.
I think Justin Simien really captures that. It's also not the first film about killer hair extensions.
Okay.
And I feel like...
Oh, is it a Japanese film?
Yeah. Science Sono's film XT, also the English language title is Hair Extensions, is about that. 2005, I think that film is. That, you know, that's a fun movie.
What would you give this film?
I would give... Oh, Tales from the Hood, of course. Also, I thought of several times watching this. I would give it 3.5 out of 5.
I would give it 3.5 out of 5 as well. But it, you know, it is very good and entertaining.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else?
No.
Bye.
Bye.